Testing streaming. Testing the stream. Testing the stream. Testing my microphone. Testing levels and a whole bunch of other stuff. Testing levels and a whole bunch of other stuff. Seeing if anybody sees this. Going to the channel. Going to the channel. Checking if anybody sees this. Going to the YouTube channel. Checking if anybody sees this. Go viewing my channel. Pulling up the video. Copying the URL. Going to Twitter. Going to Twitter. Live streaming now. Come say hi. Posting it there. Sounds good. I need to have more dumb stuff going on in the back of this video. Going back and looking at this. Looking at the chat. There it is. Awesome. Okay. Sounds good. Daily Driver said needs a gin martini, as do I. Matto, good morning. Good morning, Matto. Mark Johnson says, hello, Mr. Regular. So what we're doing this evening is something that I normally don't do on camera, is literally write a review. But I need your help this time because this is another S2000 and it is a giveaway. And I don't know what else to say about these cars other than I love them and it's one of the greatest roadsters ever made. But how many times can you tell a story that's already been told? John Burrs something says, thought the announcement an hour ago was a joke. Oh, okay. No, it's a joke. I'm literally having trouble writing this review. I'm thinking it's the last time we did an S2000 was a year ago. So, and I said this is almost the perfect driving experience. So where do you go from there? Other than maybe backwards. I can certainly talk about the things that I don't like about an S2000. It has sort of not a Corvette fan base, because people with S2000s know they're not really fast. Matto says, compare the S2000 to the Integra you reviewed not too long ago. Okay. S2K versus Integra. I mean, the Integra does shift, nice. It's not really that fast. It's a more expensive Civic. But it's still available in automatic, isn't it? It's a four-door sedan. An S2K is a two-seat roadster that never came in automatic. It was a car if you're serious. Matt Lazarus says, somebody needs to dump a V8, maybe another North Star because it's smaller and makes a go-go machine. Matt Lazarus says, who is the S2K for? Well, I mean, in reality, it's for someone who wants, like, I need more than a Miata. I want a car that doesn't care about casual people. That honestly is a line. S2K doesn't care about casual gearheads or enthusiasts, because a Miata you could drive every day. It'll be soft enough. It's easy. Its gears are spread wide apart. It's okay on the highway. Now, you could get away with an S2K every day, but it's harder. It wants to be revved up. It doesn't like to be lugged. It's meant to sing up there, higher, higher, higher. It's only really meant to be driven a certain way, which is high gear, shift, 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 although short shifting. And it's not an easy car to learn to drive stick on because the clutch only moves just a little bit. Gear shift moves a little bit. It's a distilled open top experience, whereas a Miata is a welcoming experience. An S2K is almost exclusionary. Matt Lazo says, is the S2K four-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive? I mean, yeah, okay, you're being funny. Daily Driver says, I daily a 96M right now. I don't know what that means. Stu V says, if there's any inspiration, the S2K driver drives extremely similar to the RSX Type S without any of the understeer or particular safety. Yeah. The S2K, you have to fight that thing. You have to really drive it weird to make it understeer. The back always will come out. Luke Cockloffen says, prices of S2Ks are getting close to price in some C6s now. Maybe why you'd choose it over a C6? Well, that's a good question because I like the C6 too. I'm going to go check on my food, but I'm still talking. Because like a C6 drives great. It has all the low-end power you want. And I have made the argument before that C6s are what you get when you're finally over your S2000. Because how many times do you want to live every day on the ragged edge? Because that's what you do in an S2000. Every day feels like a race. And if that's what you want, that's fantastic. An S2K is a perfect second car, a very, very difficult first car. You know, the type of person who has an S2000 as their only car is the type of guy who really can't help you do anything. Because an S2000 is for the driving experience. It's not for anything practical. Whereas a Miata, the trunk is honestly usable. You know, an S2000 reluctantly has a cup holder. It doesn't want one there. I guess to sell in America, it needed one. Whereas a Miata there's more room inside. There's my accent, more room inside. Making chicken. Chicken not quite done yet. Chicken needs onions. I buy onions in the tube of sludge. It's called Easy Onion. The Main with Sauce says S2000s are for people who like Miatas but also have a persecution complex. A Miata owner goes on how fun and easy to drive is, and S2K owners goes how difficult the cars is to live with. Look at my scars. See how I suffer for the community. Compare it to a Miata, MR2, Fiero, and the other things in its class and what makes it better and what makes it worse. Gosh, it drives better than every single one of them. I mean, it even drives better than an MR2, which is my favorite car. Because everything is so sharp. There isn't really anything wasted to the car. I suppose the closest car it could possibly resemble would be the ZZW30 MR2, because that car is just for driving. It doesn't even have a trunk, and the engine's in the optimal space, the middle of the car. Although an MR2 technically is also a front mid-engine car, as people like to point out. So they handle very, very similarly, but it shifts better than the Toyota. Toyota very rarely can never quite touch Honda in terms of its sharp shifters. There's always a bit of slop going on. C-Bomb says, Brian, your art on the wall is awesome. Oh, thank you. Sanders Tuner says, supercharge the S2000. Nah, man, turbo it. I mean, but that changes the type of car. Now you've introduced something else. It's best as a naturally aspirated car. The Real Folky says, maybe talk about how it puts you on a higher echelon in the automotive community and why it'll be the choice for someone who wants to climb that sort of ladder. Yeah, it is way more aspirational. You can have your EG Civic. You can have your CRX. But the S2000 is almost on equal footing as the NSX in terms of this is a pure this is a driving experience, and nothing's really going to get into the way of that. Matto says the Honda S2K is a distillation of everything great about when Honda was, well, Honda's still good, but this is them just showing off. Like, look what we can do when we don't give a fuck about what the consumer wants. We're doing this for us, and if you like it, great, and if not, go pound sand. Go in the parking lot and fill your pockets with rocks or something like that. If you like the twitchiness and unpredictability of a Fox Body Mustang, S2000 is leagues ahead of a Fox Body. Fox Body is just junk. An S2000 is one of the best built cars ever made. But yes, it is twitchy because it doesn't, as they say, suffer fools. An S2000 will throw you because it expects that you had some track time to be able to drive this car correctly. Matt Lazo says, it has Honda manual rods instead of sloppy, floppy Toyota cables. Yeah, no cables. Talk about that. The crisp shifts, all rods, no cables. Wish it came with a J32 to complete the 6-cylinder Japanese coupe rivals it's constantly compared to. Yeah. Scrap the S2K video, make a cooking video. You want the best and want to be seen suffering for the best. Is it a manual throttle body? That's a plus. I think it is. I mean, I'd have to go outside and look at it, but I think it is. I think it is a manual throttle body. S2K doesn't have rods or cables. It has a shifty directly mounted to the transmission, boss man. Oh, it does, says Bandwagon. Then that's even better. The shifter goes right, there is no separation between. You know what, that does make sense. Because as you drive an S2000, every one I've driven is like this. That shifter is constantly moving. And people think it's broken and is vibrating in there. Like, nope, it's directly in the transmission. So all the vibrations of the transmission as it moves against the transmounts, the transmission shifter is always right there. There's no linkages or rubber linkages to separate it, so yeah. Get some footage of you rowing the gears while standing still like they did in old Motor Week reviews. Yeah. Ships are crisp. I'm John Davis. I'm gay. I think the K series was the first electronic manual throttle body. Could be wrong. Yeah, this is the F series. C-Bomb says, I want to drive an S2000 or any Honda manual one day. It seems awesome. It is great. I'm a valet and the only manuals we ever get are Camaros or Golfs. Suffering for the best. See how I suffer for community. Shifter goes directly into the transmission. You did not do John's properly. He only shouts. Of course, yeah. My father-in-law has an 04 S2000 with 6,000 miles on. Goddamn. It drives me crazy that he never drives it. Oh, that sucks. Maybe it'll be worth $50,000 someday. Who knows? Matt Lazo says, I'm in the need for a new daily. Should I hunt for one of these, for those Honda Accord manual wagons or a Forester manual, or maybe moving up? I may be moving up to Maine. That depends. Must you drive in the snow? Like, if it's a snow day or emergency conditions, are you expected to drive in that shit? If the answer is no, then you can get away with front wheel drive and a good set of all seasons. If you have to drive in the snow, which means 3 inches or more, like you're required or you're going to get punished at work, then the answer is Subaru. Or, a 4Runner or a Toyota Highlander or something like that. The main man with sauce says, not sure if this means anything, but I always find it funny at track days how all the S2000 drivers will spin, go 4 off in the exact same spot. Honda hive mind. Yeah, I mean, okay, joke about track Honda S2Ks all spinning out. Yeah, they don't tell you when they're going to spin out. They don't tell you when they're going to oversteer. Yeah, a Honda S2000 is that one friend who says, when we wake up, we're leaving. And then they wake up and immediately get dressed and they're out the door. There is no warning, like we're leaving now. A Honda S2000 is that one friend that's going to pick you up and it says, if you're not in the door, I'm going to come up to your door, I'm going to ring, and if you're not there in 40 seconds, I'm leaving without you. That's how the S2000 behaves. I got to write that down. Friend who leaves if you're not ready. Yeah, a Miata will tell you long before it spins. S2000 won't. You got about you got about an eighth of a second before the rear end steps out. And even the one we have, even though it has bigger tires, it still does that. Like you can drift and spin a Miata easy. It's so soft. It's so soft. There's more communication within the body, within the chassis. An S2000 expects you to be familiar with the car, to practice with it on a track before you attempt to approach its limits. You can't learn on the street. It's too tight for the street. You make a mistake on the street, you wreck. I ought to say, like, things I don't like about it, things I legitimately don't like about the S2000 is that it's not nice to you. Some people say, they're afraid of the car. I'm afraid of the limits with an S2000 because I don't know where they are. Like, I love the whole slow car fast thing. Like taking old boats on a track or something like that, because you know that they'll cry and protest and they'll send you emails before they get out of sorts. Not the S2000. It's that one friend that gets angry really fast and you don't know how or when. How did the Forester treat you? Did you do head gaskets? It had head gaskets at 100,000. The previous owner did it. So I never had to do it. I was within that, EJ25s need head gaskets every 100,000 miles. But I sold it before that. Scott's Moto Adventure says the S2000 wakes up, drinks coffee, and does a line of Coke and heads out the door. That's a good one. Reason I compare the RSX S to the S2K is that the commonality of cable throttle and hydraulic power steering along with the 9000 TAC. If you ever want to drive a Type S, have a very clean example in Delco. Oh, I think you talked about that before, or maybe DM'd me. Yeah, if you want to drive up to Schuylkill County, totally do that. I was looking at properties again. I'm thinking I'm pretty much going to end up in Montgo. I don't think I can afford Delco. But also most of my friends live in Montgo, like in Montgomery and Chester County. So I'm probably going to end up there. Hive mind wrecking. Don't like how, don't know where limit is. Don't like how every day is too soon, Junior. Every day is Midnight Club. Yaroslav says, off topic, but me and my coworkers reference the "come here, I want to tell you something" guy every shift. Yeah. I have an NA Miata. Engine is starting to need some serious work. In my opinion, should I rebuild or engine swap it? Engine swapping is never plug and play as much as you think it is. I don't know, man. NA Miatas are pretty nice, and they're going up in value. So my answer would probably be rebuild the engine, pull the engine, just do everything, put it back in, because it's going to be worth more. NA Miatas are the ones to have now. So yeah, rebuild the engine. Even though it's going to be slower, it's going to be worth more. 2.5 V6 from the Probe 626 Millennia. Yes, those things existed. Do you have a question? Hayabusa, swap it. Yeah, right. Wouldn't mind to ride one of those bikes again. Justin Bernash was talking about like doing giveaways, and about with the motorcycles, and I wouldn't be opposed at all to doing a motorcycle, like a Hayabusa. Hey Justin, buy me a Hayabusa for a little while. Although he kind of is inclined to get a Harley. And it'd be interesting that since I'm not really a Harley guy, I've ridden them, I've liked them, but I can never see myself owning one. Although I have the same feelings toward the Hayabusa as well. And come to think of it, like a Harley Sportster, or honestly the Fat Boy was my favorite. Well, because of Terminator 2, but it does cruising as well. I guess it's because I like old American boats and I like to feel them sway. Like I like how Harleys can corner kind of. I mean, it's no sport bike, but you can tip them over. I mean, you can scrape the pegs on those things. They will do it. So I guess in that respect, I like it. But they're very friendly motorcycles, and they're easier to ride once you get around the fact that they're big. And they're an ancient engine. Of course, if we do a Harley, like I would say, like, you know, my problem with Harleys is the same problem I have with Jesus. I have no problem with the man. It's his fan club I can't stand. Whoever came up with that bit is a genius. I am looking for clean glass. Clean glass Ice. Sorry that I'm not in front of the computer right now, although you're getting the full audio experience. I had a lot of fun in Cincinnati this past weekend. Gave a lot of fursuiters rides in Crazy Taxi. That was a lot of fun. I also broke one of the exhaust hangers, but not the easy to replace ones. The bracket that mounts to the exhaust hanger. And my friend Greg, or rather landlord slash friend Greg, is out of the country right now. And he has one of those Harbor Freight welders. And I need to weld this bracket back together. I don't know how I broke it. I mean, it's only like 1/8 inch steel, but it's probably the original stuff. But it's a pretty clean break. It doesn't look like it rusted through. So I wonder how I broke it. And now one exhaust is hanging lower than the other because it's just held up with zip ties. Like any good Ford exhaust should be. Although maybe that's more of a Honda thing. I don't know, is anybody around tomorrow? I can borrow your welder so I can make some chicken, some chicken droppings. You know, my level of welding. Get it all back together in there. Off topic, but what are your thoughts on the Kia Optima? I don't even think about the Kia Optima. I swear the new Optimas of South Jersey. Oh, okay. Here's how much little I think about the Optima. I don't know if it's a sedan, crossover, wagon, SUV, I don't even know. Let's see. Good evening. One new thing you could say about the S2000, it might be one of the last rear-wheel drive that Honda will ever make. Has Honda or Acura ever teased another rear-wheel drive car for North America? That's a good point. I don't like that. It reminds me of of an era of. There's a sadness to it. You know, will Honda ever make a pure rear-wheel drive car again? I don't know. Like, this car fills no other roles than just driving. But that's a compliment. Oh, how we didn't know what we had in the 2000s. There were cars that just came out that were just made to be driving machines. They weren't made to do anything useful other than be, ta-da, look at the engineering, look what we did. Yeah, it's a restraint. We're not going to put a big engine in it. We won't go a V6. This will be its own thing. Riley says, what is your favorite genre of music? Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. Ska music. Martin says, did you see how much Robert Dunn is with his, how much he has done with what? How much he has done with? How much Robert Dunn is, I don't know what that sentence means. Did you see how much Robert did with his EV Polestar? I don't know who Robert Dunn is. Yeah. The opposite for a Viper. Screw you. This is totally unsafe. It even sucks to drive, but we know you're going to buy it. Lick all 3 of my balls. You heard me. Mercer 84 says, this is what I need to find after 4 beers. Man, I'd like a drink tonight. I drank enough this weekend, though. LOL, in the 2000s, I was hyper obsessed on the Spectrum with the 2005 redesign of the Honda Odyssey that I didn't know the greatness everywhere else. 2000s. Last moment for Honda making pure sports car. What are other currently made pure sports cars? Just besides the Corvette. And we're not counting muscle cars. These are two-seat roadsters. What else is there? Wait. The BMW Supra, that has back seats, right? Okay, the Miata still exists, right? A6 BRZ, that's got back seats. Alfa Romeo Spider, okay. The Fiata, there we go. What other brands has released a new roadster besides the Fiat Spider? Lotus? Lotus still is around? Maybe the Type R and the GR Corolla, they got back seats, not a roadster. So I guess I got to be specific, yeah, pure sports car, a roadster, really. Or, yeah, just a two-seat sports car. Audi R8, yeah. Is that still being made? Is the Audi R8 still being made? Model years, okay. Well, made in 2024, they're still making it. Props to Volkswagen AG, it still exists, awesome. Or is it done? Or was this year the last year? e-tron. All right, Wikipedia says model years 2007 to 2024. Production available market years. I think it's still in production. Boxster was out when the S2K was out, though. Yeah. Ackman said, it could be neat and try to answer the question, could Honda make a successor to the S2000 today? Not is it possible, but even would it work commercially? Is there a market for it? Would a Halo car? I think Honda could do it again. It would have to be a loss leader. They'd have to charge a super premium for it. But it would sell, but would it be worth all the tooling and production needed? And have because there are some switches and some things in the S2000 are shared, like window switches, but not much. It's its own car. Same goes for the SLK compressor, but this one's closer to BMW Z4. Morgan says the Audi TT was canceled in 2023. Any company can really make one if they wanted to. They just have to convince the shareholders that, hey, guess what? We're going to spend a lot of money for art. And I think the thing that helps the Z4 is the Supra, that they're able to repackage this thing and make money doing it. Yeah, Nick said they did discontinue it. Rodline says the Honda S2000 is the used car I passed on in 2002 for the new Mini Cooper. I mean, I get it. Mini Cooper does handle well. But an S2000 is only a soft top. And you need to have a, like, that's a problem. Because those soft tops will wear out. They will tear. I mean, it's fabric. It's not metal. The new Nissan Z, okay. New Nissan Z. Is that a back seats though? Like, even if they're useless, it's still there? I Done Messed Up says, Toyota's coming out with a new MR2, aren't they? I don't know, man. I heard some grapevine stuff. I heard some internet speculation, but I don't know if it is or not. Yeah, the new Z car is so bland, I even forgot about it. Lexus LC. It was the Mini's first year. I couldn't pass it up at the time. Yeah, it was new. Surprisingly, Honda made the S660 was a successor to the Beat, but it kept Japan only, of course, yeah. It would be tough to sell here. I mean, we demand cars that can maintain 80 miles an hour all day long, and that's pushing it for the S660. My S2000 has chronic tears. On the roof, yeah, it's part of the ownership experience. Back seats in name only, okay. Nissan Z does not have back seats, okay, and then it counts. Modern 2-seaters, Nissan Z, Corvette, R8, discontinued. Smart car, right? That's a 2-seater. How about the smart car? Is that a pure driving experience? Just for the fun of driving? You're not supposed to do anything with it? Found an interior photo of the Supra, and it's definitely a 2-seater. BMW Supra. BMW Z4. Did we say Corvette? We did say Corvette. And of course, the MX-5. The MX-5 honestly stands alone. MX-5. MX-5. No, it's MX-5. Smart crossblades and excluding exotics. .911 has back seats in some versions, but depending on the flavor, GT3 RS sometimes no back seats. .911 sometimes back seats. Did you include the Porsche Boxster? No, I didn't. Boxster? Okay, so there's still a few of them out there. I can see the Mark V Super interior a lot in Gran Turismo 7. Can confirm it's 100% BMW. I wonder how streamers do this late at night. Keep up the energy. I wonder if they're just using stimulants or they're younger. I'm old, my head is cold all the time. Where's my Da Vinci? Are we? Yeah, desktop audio is off. So we did have some footage here of me shifting up in the front, and you can see as you move along. And this is the GoPro just sitting right in front of the gear shifter. You can see as I go over bumps and the engine and transmission flex against their joints that the gear shifter moves around too. A Bart Fiat 500 that has back seats. Even stimulants have diminishing returns after 40. Yeah, I can drink coffee all day long. do like the shape of it, and I like those wheels too. This one is more like God Hand in that it has the single dump mod on the back. It doesn't have the dual dumps, it just has a big single now. You also sit pretty low in the car. You can't really do the arm out the window thing. Thing that I don't like how you can't hang your hand out the window. Don't like how you can't hang your arm out the window. Something else about the S2000, last high revving inline four that ever sold in North America. Weather console in the US has an inline four that revs to 7,000. That revs to 7,000, yeah. Or let alone, God Hand is a game. I think his nickname is actually God Arm and Initial D. Oh, God Arm. God Arm and God Foot, right? Yeah, it is a fast convertible top. No one asks you to see the convertible top, though. The thing about when I drive this, anybody who's any sort of a Honda enthusiast will come up and rev at you. That's the thing. Don't like how Civic drivers rev at me. I know they are saying they like me, but it's a crass way of showing it. Like old men who curl their finger at me when they want to tell me a joke. Does an S2000 weigh less than the other two-seaters that were cited on the chart? I think it's heavier than an MX-5. But I don't know, we could all compare numbers. This is without stabilization either. This is just the dynamic stabilization of a Canon XA60. And that's ratchet strapped down to the back of the 4Runner. Brian, have you driven an AP1 and an AP2? Always read mixed options of which is the better option. Now, that's a good question. I've only driven AP1s. I think, maybe I drove an AP2? Did I ever drive an AP2? The AP1, okay, here's the difference between AP1 and AP2. The AP1 is a F20 engine, it's a 2-liter. The AP2, I think, is an F22, a 2.2 liter. So it has a bigger, more 200 cc's more displacement. However, the AP2 revs to 8,000 something RPM, while the AP1 will touch 9,000. So give a little, take a little. Also, isn't the S2000 heavier than both the SW20 and the ZZW30? Making things up, I don't know. I don't compare anything to the SW20 because now you've brought turbocharging into the mix, forced induction, and now that's a completely different thing. And also it's older. That's early 90s, and S2000 is 21st century. 84 says more torque, same horsepower. Oh, okay. Someone claimed Reddit that the AP1 is still the better thing while the AP2 is the better car. The AP1 is the better S2000 while the AP2 is a better car. I can see both. I can see both reasonings. Yeah. Another person says the AP1 is the GOAT because it's the true 9,000 RPM car, and the AP2 isn't. No. The thing is, like, when I drive it, you rarely get to 9,000 RPM. It's freaky to have it up that high. And it cuts at, I think, 9. The BMW Z3M, that is another good comparison. I'm just checking Telegram. No one is messing with me on that. I done messed up, just says Supra. Okay. All right, this is like a page and a half worth of stuff. Saturn Sky Redline, no. Funny thing, I just drove my first Polaris Slingshot today. That has a Saturn Solstice engine in it. It has a GM engine in it. It's strange because it's a very aggressive handling car, auto cycled 3-wheeled thing, but it has the engine and transmission from just like a whatever GM machine. So the shifts are really long and there's a lot of space between the gears. But because it's so light, it feels like it has a supercharger on it because you're just pulling through the gears because the thing doesn't weigh much. But again, very strange driving experience. Was this me? I just put on the camera. Wait, I put on the camera at the end of an off-ramp, I think. Yeah. Highest redline USDM car, got to be the AP1. I think so, yeah. I mean, yeah, did this thing rev higher than a rotary? I think it did. Yeah, Honda's like, yo, Mazda, hold my beer. Yeah, I'm going to turn on, there we go. I think you can hear the video now. Because when I go up the mountain, you start hearing the thing. There it is. Right when I get across the railroad tracks, I start nailing it in this thing. Here it goes. Do I actually touch 9,000? There's houses on this side of the street, so I keep it, I don't nail it just yet. There we go. Look at that, almost 70 miles an hour on this back road. Do I even take it out of third gear? I think this is all third gear. Yeah, I think it is third gear. There you heard VTEC. The VTEC on the AP1 is 6,000 RPM. It was almost 9, and there I shifted, I think. Shifted to 4th or something. I don't know why Mazda, I think, well, Mazda knew they had an eternal evergreen car in the Miata, so I think it was pointless to try to compete. because the S2000 was like, look, we're going to take, and here's some cars up here. So I slow down. I think Honda created almost the perfect roadster. So any other car company would just waste money trying to touch that thing, so they just chose not to. Yeah, it was expensive when it came out. I forget what it was in Motor Week in 2000s. It may have been like a $45,000 car. I'm just trying to remember when it came out. And they said, as tested, it was this. Mercer says, I'm lucky to have roads like that. Yeah, this is one thing that I'm not going to have when I move closer to Philly. I'm going to have a more tolerant neighborhood towards LGBTQ stuff, but I'm going to lose the nice driving roads. Here I go down the hill. Does the S2000 gear shift shake while the car is idling? I mean, a little, it'll vibrate. They said it was $30,000 to $35,000 new. I guarantee there was dealer markups. But yeah, 30. That sounds correct. 30 to 35,000. The S2000 CR was pushing 40. Oh, there you heard the tires. They basically perfected what Mazda strived to accomplish with the NA and NB and MX-5, yeah. So in 2000s, it's like, look, we're making a family-friendly roadster here. S2000 is just making this hyper-specific thing for people who have outgrown the MX-5. Oh, there I hit it again. Do I touch red line here once I pull out on the highway again? Left, right, no one coming. Chirped it. Second gear. No, that doesn't sound like I got anywhere near 9. Figure I've had enough. Okay, I'm going to cut the audio here from DaVinci for you guys. Okay, I got some stuff to work with. The stuff I don't like about it, etc. Do you have any questions? I'm going to have to film a whole bunch of stuff. Did Mazda respond with the Mazda Speed version at this time? That was early 2000s, so yes. That may have been a kind of sort of, hey, here's something else you may like. That could have been a response. But it's sort of like, well, here's some stuff we already had. We know the engines can take a turbo, so here's a turbo. I mean, I drove one. It's like, yes, it's a little more, but it's still not as fast as this thing. Oh, we got a super chat. Nolan Miller says, hi, Brian, longtime watcher. As someone from Pennsylvania, thank you for bringing more approachable perspective for us not privy to the West Coast car culture. I've heard the S2000 lacks steering feel. Do you mind weighing in? It absolutely has tons of steering feel. Yeah, the steering is great. I don't know where people are talking about it doesn't have steering feel. The only odd thing is you can't adjust the steering wheel. It is fixed in place. They know, you don't. The steering wheel is where it is. You can also sort of see in that shot right there how close it is to the dash. They have the steering wheel right in front of the dash. You're almost looking straight down at your speedometer. So you just move your seat accordingly. Dear regular, just want to say I've been watching this channel for the last 3 years. I've enjoyed every single. Oh, thanks, man. I found out recently that you hang out a lot of furries in the fandom. Yeah. Yeah, I drove to Cincinnati for a big party. We put a lot of fursuiters in Crazy Taxi. And had a lot of fun. Did you talk about the fixed steering wheel in the previous videos? I don't know if I did. Fixed steering wheel. Yeah, I mean, but I don't hate it because the ergonomics is so good and the seating position is so good that it doesn't matter that the steering wheel is fixed in place. But, you know, other people wouldn't like it because the car isn't big people friendly. They expect that you're going to adapt your life to this car. The car is so good, it's not about to make any sort of concessions for your mistakes, which includes your calorie intake. Nope, it doesn't. We made a car for driving, not for you making excuses. That's a line. Gotta write that down. Not big people friendly. Tall people friendly. Tall people can have it, but not big people friendly. Car expects you to adapt your life to it. I should probably maybe smooth some of this stuff out, like this bit right here. Yeah, this bit is a little bit shaky. So this is one nice thing about DaVinci is we can from here to here, most people who do this know this, but if not, this is a thing called tracker. You go down here into the effects, which is, or fusion, which is the magic wand. You go up to the top, go to effects. One thing I don't like about DaVinci is I can't make a custom bin, so I have to do this every single time. Tracker, drag it down here to my nodes. And then I get a little target, which I'm going to drag down here onto the Honda logo. I'm going to choose every frame. I'm going to click track forward, which is the last button right here. And now what it's going to do is make a mistake and not work. Great. So that didn't work. I'm going to go back here and find the clip I wanted to isolate, which is here, right there. Thank you. Tracker, effects, tracker, track the Honda logo. You can do it. Every frame and go. There it goes. Okay. So there it's tracking the Honda logo. It's not going to stabilize it yet. It's just gathering data. Anybody over 5'11" can get a bit tight. Yeah, I'm 5'10". I'm kind of at the limit of what you can do in an S2K. Garrett says, just saw you were live. My vote is for a joke about being a successful weed dealer's car. Oh, yes. Official car of successful weed dealer. Even today when dispensaries. My man still hustling. Mark says he's 6'6". He might have a bad time. Yeah, your head's gonna be over the windshield. It's already a low windshield, so it's probably gonna be rough for you. How often do you do meetups in Pennsylvania? I'm in Bucks and would love to get an autograph. We are going to have a car show. I have to email these people back. A car show Saturday, June 29th at the Greater Philadelphia Expo Center for the Too Many Games video game event. But they're allowing us to have it. And I got an email them back. I'm saying, what time is it? It's at 9. It's from like 9 to 11. There won't be too many of us, so I think 2 hours is plenty. It's tough for me at meets because I'm an introvert and I have to be sociable and on for 2 hours, so I can do like 2 hours. And after that, I just want to go in my hotel room and hide. Message Savage Geese when he had his S2K. Yeah, he had one for a while. Picking my nose, cause when you're old, your boogers get hard and I don't want to blow out. Almost done tracking this Honda logo. I'm gonna have to try to get my grandparents' 87 Sable. The light bar is probably brown. Oh, get that light bar working. You see those people who break the light bar open and put LEDs in it? It's awesome. So now that I have my data here for where that Honda logo moves around, I will go to Operation, select Match Move, and then under here I go Background Only. So there, if you go back to the timeline, you can see it's keeping the Honda logo in wherever it was to begin with. But you can also see it's moving the frame around within the frame, so the black bars. So the way you fix that is you just zoom in a little bit, and since this camera's at 4K, but we still export at 1080 because the D750 shoots at 1080. There we go. Now it's nice and rock steady. Okay, that's good. Guys, I think that's good. It's 10:30. I may go to bed earlier than what I thought. I think I also need to trim my nose hairs. Getting old, gotta trim the nose hairs. So thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for helping me write and keeping me company while I get ideas down. I have to write it tomorrow. And now I'm gonna go trim my nose hairs. So thanks for watching this and have a good night. Thanks for liking regular car reviews. Good night.